What if the person was actually smart with their resources and money for the future, and this buffoonery people in this corporation thought they were fools? Whoa, what's up, people? All right, today let's talk about humor, as in having a sense of humor and not taking life too seriously, and why that's important in a shop or engineering or high-stress worlds. And also, let's talk about corporations and their environments and some absurd email or letter that was sent out that I saw on LinkedIn, which was like insane, and then it got reported on Jalopnik about how a corporation was trying to flex their will and muscle over somebody and their choice of cars. So I think that's pretty fascinating. So let's first start off with the sense of humor and just how I take it, because this YouTube channel now is kind of insane, because if you look at the demographics of people watching from about the age of 20 to the age of like 55 or 60, it's almost exactly equal the amount of people watching right now. And the people over the age of 65 is actually higher than late teenagers, which basically means no matter what I do on this channel, somebody is not going to like it and hate me for it. No matter what joke I make, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, it's going to make somebody mad. So I'm just going to be funny and go for it and just let people be mad, because I really don't mean any ill will towards anybody, with few exceptions. I hate sociopaths. I hate con artists. I hate people that have huge amounts of resources and money and do nothing for the world except hoard it and put their thumb on people. Those are the people I can't stand. So basically, if you're any of the above, or you're standing in the way of a better future for tomorrow, of people, the world, nations, or the environment, you suck and I don't like you. So you might as well unsubscribe now. But if you're anybody else, everybody relax. I'm just having a sense of humor here, okay? So in an environment like this, or in a race shop or a car shop, mechanic shop, I'm imagining at military bases, all around the world, people use humor and sometimes sarcasm to cut the stress of life. Because life is stressful, and we're all in this together. Not everybody's life is perfect. Not everything goes perfectly. Crap breaks. Bad things happen. People don't like other people for every reason in the world. But the day that we can't joke about things is the day it all falls apart. And I'm going to joke about things on this YouTube channel, so just get prepared. In fact, yesterday, was this yesterday? I don't know, a day or two ago. No, it was literally yesterday. So I was somewhere, doesn't matter where, and on my community page of my YouTube channel, I posted a picture. And it was relating to a Porsche race car. Now, as some of you may know, I have the Porsche 928 and now the Porsche 944. The 944 recently got finished and I'm driving it, so it's living outside and I'm having a great time driving it around. And I'm going to soon do a video and showing you guys that. And the big reason I wanted to do that is, first of all, I love those cars. I think they're great. And I'm so happy that the sort of automotive groups that inflate prices and try to like gentrify them and make them more elite and too expensive for normal people to be able to afford at all, haven't really found them yet. And that makes me happy. And I also, because I really like those cars and I think they're great, and want to share them with young people so they have an opportunity to enjoy things like a Porsche 944 and 928, I like to make fun of all the people that inflate the prices and frankly ruin cars for the future for everybody and make it so young people can't enjoy those things. So that's what I was doing. Anyway, so I posted this picture, and it doesn't matter which car, but I will say that it was a Porsche 962 Group C car of a famous livery, and I was leaning on the tire, and I captioned it, "What a piece of junk." I mean, it isn't even water cooled like my 944. Ha! I mean, do you even snob? And that made people mad, which is funny because other people wrote down at the bottom, did these people really not get that that was a joke? It was a joke. It is sarcasm. It is the exact opposite of the truth. Do you understand? Who on earth is going to look at a Porsche 962? And first of all, the heads were water cooled. The rest of it's basically oil coolered, and it has massive intercoolers, okay? What lunatic is going to drive around in a 944 and think that is a piece of junk? It is an unbelievable piece of engineering that did an unbelievable race back in the day and is beautiful and cool to drive. Like, Guys, it's called a sense of humor, okay? The internet is not a place where you just have to randomly get outraged, okay? But I do have something that's actually worth getting kind of outraged about coming up. So, guys, they're cars, okay? That is an Indy car. It's pretty cool. People thought that was a big deal a long time ago. Driven by a famous guy that was really talented. It's really fast. But it's a big, dumb paperweight, okay? Like, you can crash it and fix it. If this car exists or doesn't exist tomorrow, the world still goes around, people are still cool, we still have to take care of the future and like our planet and help young people go somewhere so there's a tomorrow of humanity, okay? Everybody relax, okay? Just relax, okay? That's all. I'm just trying to have a sense of humor. And if you don't like it, then like, I mean, kind of help you, okay? So let's move on. This corporate thing, ooh, big and kind of bad. And we're not even sure if it's real yet. So this was reported on by Jalopnik recently, and I'm like, okay, I got to do a video on this. And I saw it on LinkedIn, and I read it. And this person, it was a woman who posted it. She writes, "What in the lawsuit is going on here?" And I don't know if you guys can see this really well. But it's a letter, it was printed out, and they like marked out who it was from and when and everything like that, so you can't tell. And let me blow this up here so I can read it to you. This is incredible. This person, or this H, seems like it's allegedly from the, it's from the vice president of the human resource management of this corporation. And they write to this individual, "As you may know, many companies still use credit checks as part of their hiring process. This is to ensure that the employees can be trusted to make sound financial decisions, has the maturity to manage his/her own financial affairs, and show signs of financial distress that might indicate risk of theft or fraud. While we do not conduct these checks at this time, the gist of the check is valid to us. We have noticed for some time the condition of your vehicle and wanted to discuss the matter with you. We will follow up this email with a personal meeting, but wanted to document the discussion beforehand. Since, of course, your annual salary is known to us, and a newer and more appropriate looking vehicle should be within your financial reach, it is our concern that perhaps you are having a difficult time financially. Frankly, the concern is that if you cannot afford a newer vehicle, then either you may be susceptible to fraud or that you are not responsible for the position you maintain. To be even more frank, it just looks bad. Please let us know if there is a reason that you have not upgraded your vehicle before now. If it is a financial matter, then we will need to know the details of this problems you are having. Perhaps it is as simple that you did not know the concern you are raising. Otherwise, please address this situation as quickly as possible. We will be happy to refer you to dealerships who we have worked with in the past. Sincerely, Human Resource Vice President." Wow. And my reaction on LinkedIn was, wow. You know, the thing about it is, I don't know if that letter is real or not, and Jalopnik looked into it, and they kind of got to the source, but they wouldn't confirm if it's real or not. But it's frankly easily could be. Corporations are a very funny place, and the nature at how people in the world judge cars and new cars is also a funny thing, and I think is going to change dramatically in the United States over the next few years in a way that people didn't expect, but if they would just kind of look around, maybe they would. So let's talk about corporations for a minute and background checks and due diligence when they're hiring people to represent something like that. Obviously, they've got to find really good, worthwhile people. I believe that there are some credit checks, which I think is a little bit much. I think that's getting a little bit too far and a little too manipulative for people. That's a personal opinion, though. And going into the car matter is just too much. I'll give you an example of corporations. I had a run-in similar to this, actually, a number of years back. I was looking at a position with a global corporation relating to engineering of material sciences and projects. And there were a number of jobs that I would be well suited to, from a spectrum from different managerial type things all the way down to, test engineering, et cetera. And, I would be open to doing something and working up and whatnot. And I had a connection to the actual human resource manager of this place. And I applied to some things, and he looked into it, and I just got declined on everything. Never even got an interview or call. I'm like, what the heck? This does not make any sense. And this HR guy actually told me more than he probably should have. he said that, Case, I did some due diligence on you and I did an internet search. And they found, and I did a video on this, of how social media can screw up your career. I already well know from being a YouTuber, like, there are certain doors I will never be able to walk through again. Okay, but back in the day, I had a Lamborghini Countach. It was a vintage car, it was an investment level car, and something I worked very hard to acquire. And cool guy, neurosurgeon I know over in Pittsburgh, did a video on it. He does a YouTube channel. And just having it, not doing anything crazy, you know, not like a crazy flexing, speedy video like you see nowadays, but just like of the coolness of this car. And this HR manager guy found it and said, yeah, found that video. And he said to me, any hiring manager is going to have a problem with that. I was like, whoa. So you're telling me that because I once owned what is now an expensive vintage car, I can't work at your company? And he goes, no, 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 that's not just it. I'm like, really? Because that's pretty sure what it sounds like to me. So corporations, truth be told, they both manipulate, discriminate, and power play on people all the time, behind the scenes. It's just that they shouldn't or can't, but they do, okay? And they have to meet certain quotas, so it looks like they don't, but they do. And I don't really want to go into the reasons why they did that at the time. I was just making an example that it happens, and I want to come back to this letter. But it did seem very short-sighted of that manager. It's like, okay, first of all, you don't know why I have that car. It's a vintage car. It's not something you're going to commute in anyway. And what is this thing? Is this a problem? You think it's going to be jealousy between employees because somebody has something like that? What if it was inherited? Okay? You know, what are you afraid the person could be more financially independent, more likely to say, screw this, I'm out of here? That's possible, but at the same time, too, a person that makes a decision like that could in fact be smart might just be the kind of person that helps move a company forward. Or is the hiring manager afraid that the person might be too talented and doesn't want to hire somebody that could be a threat? All those are possibilities that come into play. In fact, corporations, there's a lot of them where you basically cannot get promoted within. It's impossible. The only way for you to move up in your career is to leave that corporation and move laterally and up like this and go across like that. So if you're stuck in a corporation, you just can't move up and they're hiring people from out to be above you, even though you should have that. Keep that in mind because they do that as a way to keep costs down of having to pay the employee because they can negotiate salaries from other places. If they start promoting people, it becomes more difficult for them. And they're not necessarily in it for the long haul to cultivate the best leadership. They're trying to keep everybody in the place and maintain the status quo and make their smaller margins. There's just so many things that come into play with the corporation. It's just absolutely absurd. So this letter that Jalopnik wrote on that's just mind-boggling relating to the car, you know, first of all, I don't think a corporation can really do that. I think there's a number of things in that letter that are potentially illegal or lawsuit worthy, but it's neither here nor there. Let's just take it at face value like they're trying to be helpful. You know, it's pretty narrow-minded and shallow and stupid in a way because clearly they don't know anything about cars. But let's say theoretically the person had a really horrific dilapidated car, okay? Then the corporation just went about it badly trying to potentially help that person, especially putting that like in writing, you know. It just bad form, bad form. But the other fascinating thing is, what if this person had a car that was just maybe 5 to 10 years old, maybe in 15 years old, had bottomed out in market value, they bought it well, low mileage example, and they're maintaining it because they're smart enough to know they can have a good looking car that won't lose money to depreciation. If they maintain it, they'll be better off financially doing that than getting a loan for something that they have to pay interest on that's going to tank in value the second you drive it off the lot. Maybe they don't want to lose tens of thousands of dollars to depreciation. Maybe they don't want to just lease a car, which is no different than renting a car, and just losing that money over hand over fist. What if that was the case? Then there's a bigger problem afoot. The cultural and social norm of that corporation or the general populace in the United States is so brainwashed into thinking we have to have new cars and be consumer culture for the sake of fashion and fear of fixing a car when we can manufacture great things to last. That's a whole nother topic of conversation I'd be happy to go into. But I thought about it because, for instance, the Porsche 944 that I just got done, I bought that car for $3,000. It is a good-looking car. No rust, no dents. It's red. It's got silver wheels. It's got a nice black interior. And I put less than $1,000 in parts fixing it up, and I am driving it, having a great time, and it's reliable, and I'm looking forward to doing the video. So what if you were working at a corporation, and let's say you had a job, I don't know, you were making $65,000 to $85,000 a year, A decent income, but nothing astronomical. Let's say you're making $100,000, $120,000. Let's say they're making $150,000 a year. Who knows? Let's say you're a higher up, you're making $250,000 a year, and you're commuting around in a classic car that you can get parts for that's not going to depreciate, that has less money in it. I'm pretty sure if I was the CEO, I would ask that person, I'm like, cool car. So what's the deal with that? What do you got in it? What's your thought process behind it? I'd be like, interesting. That would be the kind of person that I would potentially promote, because they can actually look at the value of an asset versus depreciating, what goes in it, is it going to appreciate, how much you're going to have into it, resource allocation, and somebody who can actually think outside the box. So what if, in this hypothetical scenario of this letter that we don't frankly know if is real or not, what if the person was actually smart with their resources and money for the future, and this buffoonery people in this corporation thought they were fools? What if this was actually a really smart person that got stuck at the lower levels, held down by middle management dingbats that don't know anything else? I would love for the CEO to be like, wow, and promote that person to here and help do resource management. I would want to hire them to lead a company, especially if it was manufacturing or industrial. How many company owners and leaders and people out there do you know that will buy used things just because they don't want to lose money to new stuff? I know a few. Man. I tell you what, that was the most fascinating letter I saw in a while. And it is just so fascinating to think about how people view things. Not only in the nature of a corporation, but humor. It's amazing. You can't win. You can't win. Haters gonna hate, right? Oh my gosh. That's all I got. I just wanted to talk about it. I think you guys should check it out. And I'm not sorry if I offended anybody for my jokes about the Porsche, because it was sarcasm. It's the mere truth of what I think. Like, what do you think I'm out here, killing baby bunnies? I'm just trying to get by and have a good time and let people enjoy a car channel on YouTube. Chill out. Have you ever hung out around actual race car driver people in a garage when they're not trying to be in the public eye? Or fighter pilots or military people or cops or anything? Welcome to the humor that gets people through the stress of life. Relax. We don't need to be mad about everything. So anyway, do I have any good jokes to end this with? Something positive that'll make somebody mad. Let's see. Okay, I got a good one. It's a little cheeky. What'd the bra say to the hat? You go on ahead. I'll give these two a lift. Anyway, guys, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get a job at a corporation now for that joke. But that's okay, because they wouldn't let me drive my old car. In the meantime, hope you guys have enjoyed this. And naturally that you will like, comment, and of course subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.